Hello and welcome to Dale's Gaming, and this is From the Depths Designer, and this is a start of a new few videos. Specifically I'm classing as epic build, so this will be just purely for the very large builds that I do in the game, usually near the end of taking on a faction. And I'm going to this is breaking up the builds of the components, and in this case it is the Nelson class Pre-dreadnought, which in the background I built up. And in this particular episode I'm going to be looking at the hull and the main guns and going through, whilst I'm building it, why I'm doing the build and how the decisions I'm making, and trying to do it as I am building. So any comments below about whether this is good, bad, enjoyed or not, or etc., please leave the comments. Also I would recommend watching the final combat results, etc., and also the intro as to why I'm building the ship in its theme, etc., which is in the video, which is linked down in the description. But other than that, if this is if some people like this, I would say if you don't like long videos and me waffling on, feel happy to skip. I've got no problems with that. This is aimed at the people who like listening to me waffling on whilst I am building the ship. So anyway, without further ado, this is the continuation of building the Nelson class, where I'm looking at the hull and the main guns. So as I talked about, or was going to talk about, I was going to have a, what am I thinking about here is when I'm setting up the hull of this ship. Well, some of it is I'm basing this on the size of the ship I'm going to be needing, and so a lot of that is based upon the guns over there that I'm intending to have in the ship. So whenever I start a ship, I already have a vague idea of the type of ship I'm going to end up with, quite simply. Some of that is because I'll look historical, as I said when I was setting up the previous video. The Agamemnon, the Petrovsk, can't say that properly, but I've looked at some historical photos of battleships to get an idea of shapes and potential weaponry. So that's what I'm using as a basis for my ships at this time. You know, some of this is also based on just what I'm used to doing. So I've set this sort of space up based on the fact that I usually think that 50% to 60% of your ship will be weaponry in general. And yes, I am using a lot of wood here. I'm doing the armour after I've set up the wood. So the guns I'm looking at, I reckon are going to have a turret base of about 7 wide. So now I want to double that for my deck level as a basis. So at the moment we've got to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's about 7. That's about 15 wide. Yeah, I'm actually feeling that I need to be a little bit wider, because I need a 7 wide and then a little bit more for the secondary guns. So okay, we'll do another. Also, it's better to be too wide than not wide enough. For stability reasons, it's better to have a wide ship than too thin a ship, basically. 2 there, so I need to go up 4. Yep, we will. Just trying to work this one out. No, I think I can go across here, and then I'll go up 1 more. So this is quite a wide ship at the moment, so I'll sort out that hull side at the moment, and I'll armour some of this side once I've got some guns into position. So now I'm already thinking, first of all, is let's get the hull floating, for want of a better word. No, well, it isn't a better word. Just float the hull, so about 8 high, which is a good size. So I like to do a lot of the building whilst the ship is floating. That helps me to make sure I've got some sort of balance, and just take it out of the water when I need to. It also makes sure I have built to the right size. It's terrible if you get to a point in the ship and you realise, the guns I wanted, the ship's not long enough, and trying to rebuild a ship's length once you're halfway through the ship is bloody difficult. It's better to get the height roughly right at the very beginning. Now I might have the bow of this not on one level, so the deck might be a double level deck. Maybe not, or maybe actually the rear will actually be higher than the front. Modern ships, actually, you'll sometimes find that the front, the bow, actually has a higher freeboard than the rear. I might reverse that, but anyway. So let's just make sure that floats in general and doesn't tip over. I might need to put a bit of a keel. Now this at the moment is quite high up, and I'm going to be putting quite a lot of weight inside this, so it will end up being pretty damn top heavy, I'm guessing. So I am going to need a fair bit of weight at the bottom, and the best weight blocks are obviously the lead block. Now I'm going to try and I don't like keels as such if I can help it, so we'll try and get about in the centre, about there, and we'll replace some of these blocks I think with lead initially, just to give a bit of weight on the bottom to hopefully make sure that it stays down. So yeah, I will do a keel if certainly for sailing ships. This is not aimed to be a sailing ship at all. This will be a steam powered propeller ship. We might put a nominal sail on there just for giggles, but generally now I can expand that out a little bit further later if we're still not balancing correctly. So now number one thing to do before I go any further is make sure I know which end of the ship is the front. So that's actually the front. So just to mark it out so I don't get confused in when I am building stuff, I'm just going to point that's going to be the front. Now I'll take that air pump to the back, I think. Now to help with stability, once I put some decks in, I can change with pumps, so have some pumps at the bottom that don't turn on or don't have have a deck, so it's water filled. That will help too with the weight. I'll worry about the sides here once I know I've made this wide enough. Okay, number one, we're now going to look at the main guns. So this is going to be something like I've got about the guns I've set up, because I have tested some guns. I'm not ideal, but I reckon it's to be about 13 inch gun as such. Now we're going to make a largish bout, and you can see on this is already wanting to turn over, which is not good already. So that's a sign that possibly this hull is not. I've done. It's going to be too thin. Okay, let's have a. I don't want to make a box. I hate boxes, but maybe I can make an inverted hull. Or I've got to put a lot of weight down in that keel in the bottom. At the moment we're mainly wood, so possibly I need to put a bit more weight in there. Because if it's not, if it won't even float straight the correct way up with when it's got nothing inside, what hope have I got when it's full of weaponry? So we just put a bit more weight in the bottom, see if that will hold it level. The other option, we can still see that's still coming over. Okay, and if we flood the bottom part of this, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. If we flood it, it's still not wanting. Something is making that lower section buoyant. Now I have had this in the past where for some reason metal floats, which is a bit weird at times. Let me just bring it out and bring it back in again. So okay, just taking it out of the game, bringing it back in again. It has stabilized a little. Still not ideal. Let's just see what happens now if I put the air pump in. Now I could just do a big flat bottom boat. Lots of people I know just do flat bottom boats. I hate doing flat bottom boats. Let's pump out that water, see if that's going to float, see if that's still stable like that. Okay, that's okay. There was obviously something with one or more of the blocks. Some of the, I don't know, maybe some of the lead was suddenly very buoyant for some reason. As I say, sometimes things are a little weird on these ships, but never mind, eh? But I do feel I'm going to need a bit more weight on the bottom or before we're finished. We've got a lot of metal is going to go on these sides at minimum. And I think I might bulge out the centre a bit as extra belt armour, because this is just the basic. I've got to put armour on this yet. This is the basic hull. We'll either have some armour on the inside or potentially, as I say, put a central bulge in. But let's go back to where we were, and we'll think about the guns again. So, okay, new object, 3-meter turret, so it's got protection. So I'm thinking of a 13mm gun. So we're going to use the full height here. A double gun turret, and I think we're going to have about a 7. Yeah, so it's going to go about 3 either side of the centre of this turret. So I want to make sure I leave myself enough room. So if we go there, and on these bigger turrets, I tend to put the AI just straight on the turret. It makes it easier when I'm copying around. I know where the AI is. You could put it one away, which I do for smaller turrets, but I think that'll be right on this. Right, so on this here, I think because we're going to do a double turret, we're going to start with some metal blocks in the centre to set the height. So that's going to be our core height. We'll then do 6-way connector here for the moment. Now what I'm going to try and do to get the maximum number of blocks below is I'm gonna not use the stick of 6. We'll try attaching the gun to this block here. There we go. So now the gun is connected to that block. Is that going to be high enough? That's only at that deck level there, and we need 2. I think that needs to be a bit higher than that. Let's... Right, now we'll set this up. So my thought is that this will be in the turret level, so at the level of the deck, and we'll then have 2 thicknesses of metal just below the gun. Then we'll have the actual items for the gun, the loaders, etc. So just as a marker, I'm going to put that there and that there. So it'll be a 3-wide entrance point for the gun. Okay, first thing we need to do is start sorting out all of the... I'm going to go for the mantlets first, actually. I'm just looking at how much elevation. I'm going to give these quite a bit of elevation. That's the wrong way around. There we go. And then we'll put the barrels in. This will have quite a significant amount of barrel size. An excavator to raise the rate of fire, some heavy barrels just there, and then I'm thinking that maybe one more. I think that sort of size barrel. Right, next is starting doing all of the cooling and gauges, which is going to be a bit interesting on this gun. So left and right splitter, and we'll start pushing it down. Now I'm trying to get I'm not too worried about rate. I do want rate of fire, obviously, but it's not my primary concern with this particular gun. Let's see if that's the right size. I haven't got my screen on. 348, yeah, that's about right. That's about 13-inch gun. Alright, some cooling to continue down there, all the way to the bottom. Now I can have I can have 3 sets here without impacting the turning of this gun. So we'll use that, maximize that initially. More cooling. And back down again. Now, do I actually want to go down here? Because I've got to think I need quite a lot of ammo loaders here. So I'm going to hold off on that for the moment until I've seen how much ammo loaders I need. So, because I could overdo that. So we're putting quite a lot of cooling on this. Now I can only go as high as just above the deck area. Now the most I can go out is 3 or 1 from this. So I'm 1 out from the turret block, so that's as far as I want to go there. So we'll now go back down and go inwards. These are now quite a good reload rate. So that's why I'm thinking I'm going to need quite a lot of loading on these guns. And also, I'm thinking for the guns here, I might do a no-clip gun system. So let's see how this works. I hope that has duplicated. Yes, I suddenly had this nasty feeling it wasn't duplicating, which is really annoying. I really hate it when I forget that. So, okay, I haven't done that there. I could just do that little bit, but we'll hold off at the moment. So, okay, let's see. So I can't use that bit in the center, so just to keep it out of the way, I'm gonna, let's just do that like that. So there's a good support in the center. Right, loaders. So I'm looking at a 4-meter auto loader, I think. Let's see, where's that level? That's where the so I can go there, which leaves me, I can put a loader on the top and the bottom, and I can go one out from here. I'm already one out actually. Oh no, I can go 3 out actually, so I can go, I reckon I can go out to there, maybe there. Yeah, I reckon I can go, actually go 2 out. So okay, let's go 2 out. So that's, so we'll try something like that. And one important thing to do, which I will do in a minute, is when you start armouring up, because I will obviously armour up a lot of these, is make sure it can still turn. There is nothing worse, well, there's a few things, but one of the worst things is certainly setting up a lovely gun and then finding it won't turn in the turret. Yeah, the turret is blocked by some item or another. So actually I can do another stake here, because I've only gone out 1 and I've actually gone out 2 here. So first thing I want to do is take that off there, is make sure that this will still turn. If I put there, whoops, let's put the, there we go. Let's first of all do a line down here. I think actually at the back I've got potentially room to go more. Now I should really replace this all with, and that still didn't do the mirror line because reasons. So first thing I'm doing is, let's make sure this will turn. Don't. Yes, I should use F3, so sue me. Okay, so let's give myself a little chair. Go out of build mode. All guns. Does it get held up? Yes, see, it's getting held up just there. So that's potentially needs wider, or I've got to take that particular loader off. So one loader too many. Right, let's just try that. Okay, so that's turning. So that's my definition for that, and I've got room at the front. So that's 1, 2 from there, 1, 2 from there. Yes, I've got some wasted space there. I'm never great at working out the best way to use that, but never mind, eh? But that turns around, and I've got some snake room additionally down here, which I can put in a little bit later. Okay, so I'm happy that this is gonna turn around. Now, I haven't put much on the top. With advanced guns, it's mainly down below, but I can put some more cooling up here just to add a little bit of snaking to it, so it's not a wasted turret space. Let me just see how I'm gonna do this. So that didn't get used for this. So how many we ended up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. That's not as many as I would like. I think that's gonna be. So we'll hold on the on doing too much more. I think. Let me have a. Again, I'm in a. Yeah, sort of. Should I? Shouldn't I do a little bit more? Is it worth it? Might put a little bit more just up on the gun here, because if need be, if I put some at the top, if it's, you know, firing faster than it can reload, I can always get rid of some of the reloaders and put sorry, get rid of some of the cooling and put reloaders in there. I will need also some recoil absorption, which I will put on the rear and or the up here if I need to. Well, it's a little bit of absorption, it's not very much. Let's just put a little metal block in there. Now, I'm not going to use laser targeters or anything else on here, so I don't think now. We'll go to the. I'm actually going to go to the ammo controller next and set up what I'm thinking of as a shell for this. So we've got 348. Now, this isn't a perfect shell. I'm sure people will say I should be using XYZ. But as I said, it's not really. So that's too big. I want to follow the basic concepts of the ships, which is not too fast firing. It was a big shell, but not massive. It was mainly designed to penetrate. Now, I'm not going to do it with velocity. I want to do penetration using sheer size, which is the way they used to throw small bloody cars at each other effectively. So I want a good penetration. That may be enough. Then we have some HE. Let's try that solid back there again. 23. What I'm looking here is the kinetic damage, not necessarily the armor piercing. As long as that's above 3, it's going to go through wood. I'm more looking at the kinetic damage, because I want the kinetic to take out a lot of the blocks and use that to get inside, and then the HE and frag will explode. So yeah, 23,000, 7.6, that looks okay. And then we'll put a couple of frag warheads. So and then I'm gonna need two timers, I want a inertial fuse if it hits some sort of shield, and a penetration depth fuse. So I'll, yep, and a penetration if it goes to 2.5 or has been penetrating for 0.6, I think should be okay. We'll work on that. I think 0.6 works out okay. Now, yeah, I've only got 2 powder casings here. Good reasons for that. We got 5,800 range, which is all I need. So I want this to only be fighting at about 3,000, 2,000 to 3,000. Partially because the AI won't allow us to go much more than that, higher than that. Also, keeping this gunpowder casing will increase the potential cooldown. The more gunpowder you have, the longer it takes to cool down. So this is a fairly big shell. We've got a good explosive radius. Some fragments. We'll sort out the fragments quickly. I like one about 90 and then one at about 180. So if it hits, it will take out lots of areas. So yeah, fragment damage. If it gets through and into an open area, that'll help it. The main bit is kinetic with the 98 and this explosive damage, and we're going to expect to do 92 recoil, so that's going to need a fair bit of work on that. So okay, this now is our shell. We'll start just force everything to use that, and 98k of recoil. So we're going to need to put some hydraulic absorbers, 6-meter ones. I think, will they go onto there? Let's see. We'll see when we start firing if that's enough. Right, we'll give it a quick, before we go any further, quick test to make sure I have not stopped that turning with those bits on the back. Let's just see if there's anything else. Let's put an extra row down the front here as well, because I want to make sure I can armour all of this. I'm going to replace these blocks with metal. Okay, that looks good to me. Right, so let's armour up this citadel then. So we will use metal beams on this. This is going to be fairly critical, really. Nothing too fancy for the armouring here, just a whole wedge of metal. Whoops. So we're now at the theoretical deck level. Now I want to do 2 sets. So we've got let's see, level 2 here. Let's just see if I can do this. Let's see. No, we can do a block of 3 meter. A couple of 3 meters, then we'll use 4 meter blocks this way, I think. And then some more 3 meter. And in the back, 2 meter. There 3 meter. And a couple of single blocks. Okay, so up there, and then we'll do one more level, which is the ultimate sort of deck level for this cannon. Actually, it was interesting in the original ships, I say original ships, a lot of them just had barbettes. They didn't have full turrets as we know it now. The gun was just in an open barbette at the top, and guys would be running there loading shells and picking them up from down below, etc. The whole turret system we're used to nowadays was actually a bit of a later invention in some ways. Right, let's make sure again we stop and we make sure that the turret can still turn around. So it is important. Yeah, see, I've blocked it somewhere. So somewhere that is now blocked. Bugger. Now, first of all, did I go too far with one of these? Is always a possibility. Now, I'm assuming that everything I did, it's possible I've put a block in too far. And it's touching one of these in some way. Let's just right, let's see if that turns there. Nope. Somewhere else. Right, let's see if that turns, see if it was actually below when I did that second level. Alright, so something on the second level here. What's touching? Is it around the back? Is it round the back? It could be those recoil absorbers, or the top element of the recoil absorbers. Bugger. That's let's take out those two recoil absorbers, and we might have to put them somewhere else. Again, we test the turning. Yeah, recoil absorbers. Okay, I will have to maybe put the recoil absorbers all up on the top gun. That's fine. That's fine. That's one of those things that you have to go with. Right, now to redo everything that I just undid. So after a bit of working on the turret to just shape it up a little bit, we've got a working gun, I think now. Just give it a little bit of a fire, see what's some kinetic damage, 9,000, that's not quite as good as I wanted, that's good, a range of 1,500. Okay, that's starting. Let's just see what the range can be on this, just to confirm the range. Maximum. That looks to be like the maximum elevation. Yes, the armor piercing is not showing as high as I expected, and a range about 3,000. That's fine. Oops. Yeah, okay, that armor piercing is a little lower than I would like. Let's just have a bit of a play with a couple of options there. Okay, I think we might have to go with the 3 and hope the kinetic will take it through, maybe? Or do we just give it a little bit more power? But then I lose one of the fuses or a frag. I think I will leave it on that. And we'll see how it performs, I think. So now I'm going to go for a basic copy of that on the rear. I'm going to have to leave a bit of room for equipment. I think we'll have the engines instead. No, I'm going to raise up the rear. I'm going to do this raised rear idea I was thinking of. Not by much, but we will. That's can't be armoured anyway, so possibly just 2, like this. Yeah. That might be our main resource area actually underneath there, potentially, but it's just to give a bit of a difference. I'll have to shape it in. Now we make a copy of the turret. Save it as a sub-object. Got loads in here, as you can see, no doubt. And then we'll put that over here. Right next to the back. A bit of room on the back for some other items. So we'll go with that there. Right, and then we'll armour it up. Now I think the scheme was basically the same. Basically go all the way to the front. One more than the front, and all the way to the side. That looks a little close to me. That looks like that is going to be impinging on them, so we will have to go back one more. And I'll put the mirror line on while I'm thinking about it. I always forget the bloody mirror line. That's better. Right, to check it, we put a chair down. I'll go one higher on all of these just while I'm here. Let's make sure this is loading. Yep, and you. Let's make sure you've got some ammo in there. I'll give it a few test fires. Yeah, I've got 7 shells in there. We'll see what fire rate we get from this as well, just while we're here. Just for giggles. And we're over on this one. Okay. Let's see. Okay, 7 shots, then it's got a bit of a cooldown time while it's reloading. So that's the bad point of it. It's got quite a low. We might be able to yes, let's just try something. If this works, I can do it on the other turret. So I had to play with putting clips in the gun, but it didn't work as well as I would like. So I'm going to stick with this. It has a little bit of a burst fire, and it has to wait to reload. And we'll see how that goes with the battles. So 7 or 8 shots at the enemy, then it'll have to wait to reload for a bit, and then fire another 7 or 8 shots. That may well work. We'll give it a go. It's because I'm loading directly onto the loaders rather than going into clips. But putting on the clips, use the space, but only gained me a couple of shots, and then it was the same again. I quite like that burst, so we'll go with that for the moment.